If you've picked up a newspaper or turned on a TV in the past week, chances are these are three names you haven't been able to escape: Sean Spicer, Bill O'Reilly, and David Dow. After the latter was violently dragged through the aisles of United, his name was subsequently dragged through the mud by his hometown news outlet. And after weeks of newly discovered sexual assault accusations against O'Reilly, last night he made a pretty big announcement.
Often around this time of year, I grab some vacation because it's spring and Easter time. Last fall, I booked a trip that should be terrific.
Terrific. Then there's that other guy who could probably use a vacation right about now, too. After starting his tenure by yelling at the press about inauguration crowd sizes, he was wrong. He entered whole new territory, breaking a cardinal rule of politics and going where no man or woman should ever go, even if he did have his facts straight.
You had someone as despicable as Hitler, who didn't even sink to using chemical weapons.
Oh my. Spicer has since apologized multiple times, but is it time for him to go? Joining me are Jennifer Nassour, former chair of the state Republican Party. Hi, Jennifer. Hi. Jesse Murmel is former communications director for Governor Patrick. Hi, Jesse. Hey, so here's my thesis. The only people who want Spicer to stay are either sadists or people who hate Trump so much that they want both of them embarrassed. Let's start with a Republican. If this is bad for America, is it not?
I think that Reince Priebus last night went home and gathered a whole bunch of world history books and brought them into work today and said, get to work and start reading, because this is embarrassing. I don't know how you make such a big mistake. It's Passover week. It's something that you can't even compare anything in history to what Hitler did, and Spicer was doing that.
Well, you don't even try to compare anything to it, but if you do, it might be nice if you knew what you were talking about. Yes. You can't be this ill-informed and be the spokesperson for the leader of the United States.
Right, and it's one thing to be passionate about what you're talking about. We've all done that. You know, we're really passionate, yeah. We're going and we're going, but then he made another fumble as he was apologizing too. So I don't think, I think he needs a break. He needs to go away with Bill O'Reilly.
And he made a third fumble, which is when he went on with Wolf Blitzer on CNN, attempting to fix this mess. Here's Spicer and Blitzer.
I needed to make sure that I clarified and not was in any way, shape, or form any more of a distraction from the president's decisive action in Syria and the attempts that he's making to destabilize the region. There's no way that I can see a stable and peaceful Syria with Bashar al-Assad in charge.
Bashar al-Assad, I know you've mispronounced his name a few times, but it's Bashar al-Assad.
To destabilize the region, and then Wolf Blitzer, like you're four, has to correct your pronunciation of one of the most infamous people on the planet.
There are a lot of layers to this onion, Jim. I mean, I think that book that Priebus is going to have to bring in might be like a second-grade social studies book. Maybe we start there with getting the White House to master those level of historical
facts. But raise your
facts.
right hand. In truth, raise your hand. You can't stay. As a hardcore Democrat, you want Spicer to stay, don't you? Because it's so embarrassing for this administration.
I really don't. I mean, there are some things that are going on here that extend far beyond partisan politics, and this is one of them. When you had Russian media today asking the Secretary of State about what Spicer said about the Holocaust yesterday, this extends beyond partisan politics. Jennifer's right. It's embarrassing. It's bad for the country, and he needs to go. The only way I think he goes is if Donald Trump feels he is embarrassing him. It won't be about the Holocaust. It won't be about insulting the Jewish community and humanity during Passover week. It won't be any of that. It will be Donald Trump feeling like, I'm embarrassed by this guy.
It's not just embarrassment. When you insult a whole swath of people who may support you, like he did yesterday. And number two, the barrel bomb comment the other day. I know nothing about weaponry. I know what a barrel bomb is. He doesn't know what a barrel bomb is.
What I'm saying is the only reason Donald Trump would fire Spicer is if he feels personally embarrassed by what Spicer is doing, and if he feels that Spicer is not making him, Donald Trump, looks good.
Or if it costs him votes after the biggest electoral victory in the history of humankind. Is that correct?
Maybe, but I think Trump would need to see that in poll numbers. I really only think Trump cares about how this reflects on him, not anything else.
Well, let's talk about Donald Trump's good friend, Bill O'Reilly. One Sunday ago, we woke up to this headline in the New York Times. Bill O'Reilly thrives at Fox News. Even as harassment settlements add up. We read about 5 settlements, 5 women claiming sexual harassment, no admission of guilt, $13 million paid out. This, of course, comes after Roger Ailes, the brain behind Fox News, is driven out. O'Reilly's ratings have gone up. That says something that I don't quite understand. if he doesn't go, if he actually comes back from vacation on April 24th, which he says he's going to do, what kind of statement does that make about this country and about Fox News, which is really the station beloved by the people you've served for a lot of your life?
Well, maybe they're hiring Jim, and you want to go over to Fox.
No, I'm serious.
You'll fit right in. I think they're really your people, Jim.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
It's a problem. It's definitely a problem. And I think that, one of the issues that politicians face, and now we're seeing it in the media too, is that those who live in glass houses should not throw stones.
Exactly.
Right? And so...
His new book is about...
the state of Alabama?
Yeah.
Who also just stepped down, for those who missed that, yes.
That was an issue.
Do you have a problem when you watch, right now?
Yes.
That is, do you have a problem watching the station?
Well, no, because I think all the women who are on it do a fabulous job. I think that there are folks on Fox News who do a good job. And so, Bret Baier wasn't in this. It was Bill O'Reilly. And maybe his time has long gone and he should be cut and go someplace else. I think when you're spending $13 million, even without an admission of guilt, any type of money just gives you the impression that he was guilty of doing something. I think that if he's going to keep being a bomb thrower, that stuff like this is going to keep coming out. It reflects very poorly upon Fox News. And what's going to happen is the talent that's there is going to go the way of, they're all going to walk out like Megyn Kelly did.
I think you don't have to raise your right hand for this one. I know
Thanks.
where you want to go on this thing. He's got to go, yes?
He's got to go. Misogyny is alive and well in America, and Fox News is at the front of the pack making the case that they think it's okay. I'm almost certain he'll be back. This is, to me, a way for them to ride out the news cycle. They're hoping that something else will take their place above the fold in the New York Times, and he can come back. And there might be a little bit of hubbub, but he keeps on keeping on. This is not the first time that Bill O'Reilly has been in the headlines for a sexual harassment scandal. He's back, and his buddy in the White House is, one of the top offenders.
Well, people voted for him, that buddy, after they knew about
Absolutely.
Donald Trump, and
right.
so that's how. But can we talk about somebody who did have a higher place on the front page for a day or two than Bill O'Reilly, clearly on the Evening News, this Dr. Dow. I have to say, I'm not even going to discuss how egregious the incident was. I can't imagine anybody who's not trying to be a provocateur would defend this sadism, this viciousness. The cops should be in jail. Munoz, the CEO, should be fired. What troubled me, though, here's a tweet from his hometown newspaper about a day after this happened. Breaking: David Dow, the Elizabethtown doctor yanked from the United flight, has a troubled past in Kentucky. He has a really troubled past. He does. He was, not disbarred, lost his license for 10 years, essentially getting sex from a man in return for drugs, did a lot of horrible things. However, to me, it is the classic American thing of the victim becomes the perpetrator,
100%.
as happens in so many. Go ahead.
No, 100%. What you just said is the first time I heard what his troubles were. I saw that tweet on Twitter. It got retweeted a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And I refused to click because my first reaction was, who cares? If you're a good guy, you're allowed to keep your seat and not have your face smashed in. If you're a bad guy, you get dragged off the plane.
But isn't this the same as
why do we
why
do
was
this?
the woman there, by the way, when she was sexually assaulted? This is the same kind of crap we hear all the time.
I completely agree. It is blame the victim. It doesn't help that this is a person of color. And, I think that people feel like they're sick and tired of it.
This has been far too much agreement, but you're on the same page too, yes?
Absolutely. As soon as I had seen that, I thought the same exact thing. This is horrific. How do we blame our victims? He was pulled off of a plane. But for the fact that the man was pulled off the plane, no one would have, the entire world wouldn't know his dirty laundry. Lots of people have skeletons in their closet that don't come out when they're sitting on an airplane. But this gentleman happened to get pulled off. Is he shady? Sure. But I don't want to know that. What I want to know is what's going to happen at United, because I think that's the more important question, and this takes the onus off of them now.
Amen. This is painful, but we were on the same page in almost everything. Pleasure to see you, Jennifer. Jesse, you as well.
Kumbaya.
Great to see you.